A monument is supposed to be the thing that does not move. Roads bend around it. We are here to determine the GOAT of completed physical relocation of endangered historic monuments. The field is completed physical relocation of endangered historic monuments. Cities grow past it. Generations use it as proof that at least one piece of the world has stayed put. Then a dam raises a lake, a coastline retreats, or a city outgrows its old structure. Preservation faces an awkward choice: leave history where it belongs and lose it, or move it and risk changing what made it history. Relocation can mean rolling a building intact on steel, dismantling it into numbered stones, or rebuilding its visible skin around a modern skeleton. Each method saves something different, and each quietly admits that something else may be lost. Our field is completed physical relocation of endangered historic monuments. The test is not simply weight or distance. It is urgency, engineering difficulty, fidelity to the original, the scale of what survived, and the consequence of the rescue. Fidelity means more than putting every stone back. A monument has proportions, orientation, interior light, neighboring buildings, and a relationship with its landscape. Move the object perfectly, but erase those relationships, and you may preserve the noun while losing the sentence. Sod is equally deceptive. One tall structure can be moved as a single load. A temple complex may weigh less at any one moment, yet demand years of surveying, labeling, cutting, transport, and reconstruction, with almost no room for a wrong stone. The modern age made these contests unavoidable. Its great public works could deliver electricity, irrigation, transport, and growth, while placing ancient structures directly in their path. The best rescues had to respect both needs without pretending the conflict was simple. Several projects proved that the supposedly immovable could travel, but only one combined monumental risk: surgical reconstruction, visual fidelity, and a legacy that reached far beyond its new foundations. The Temple of Dendur began as a small Roman period sanctuary beside the Nile. When the new reservoir threatened Nubian sites, conservators dismantled it. 642 blocks eventually crossed the Atlantic and reached New York. At the Metropolitan Museum of Art, those blocks became a temple again, inside a vast glass-walled room. Water, daylight, and open space were used to evoke the riverside setting rather than hide the fact that the building now lived in Manhattan. Dendur is a remarkably complete rescue and an honest museum installation. Its limitation is the same thing that makes it accessible. The sanctuary survived as an exhibit, thousands of miles from its cultural landscape. The stones returned to order, but not to place. London Bridge attempted something more eccentric. When the 1831 bridge could no longer carry modern traffic, its exterior granite was sold, dismantled, and shipped from Britain to Lake Havasu City in Arizona. Workers numbered 10,276 exterior blocks before transport. In the desert, they faced the historic masonry onto a lighter steel framework, then opened a man-made channel beneath the reconstructed bridge. The result still carries traffic and turned a remote development into a destination. Yet this was adaptation more than emergency rescue. The original load-bearing bridge did not migrate whole. Its recognizable stone exterior gained a new structural body and a commercial second life. At Cape Hatteras, the threat moved while the monument stood still. The barrier island, a narrow strip of shifting sand, migrated until the Atlantic came dangerously close to the brick lighthouse, despite earlier attempts to hold the beach in place. Injers did not dismantle the tower. They replaced its support beneath the base, inserted a vast mat of steel beams, lifted the structure weighing 4,830 tons, and transferred it onto rollers and a prepared track. Hydraulic jacks advanced the tower about 5 feet at a time. 60 automated sensors watched its tilt, vibration, load, and shape, while a weather station monitored conditions above. The move covered 2,900 feet in 23 days. The smaller station buildings moved too. At the new site, the keeper's quarters, oil house, cisterns, and lighthouse retained their historic relationships. That detail changed the project from moving a giant object into preserving a working cultural landscape. Cape Hatteras may be the purest intact move in this contest. It preserved fabric, alignment, and function with extraordinary control. Its boundary is scope. One compact station traveled less than a kilometer across prepared ground, rather than being reconstructed from a vanished site. Philae faced water twice. The earlier Aswan Dam repeatedly flooded its temples, staining walls, and covering the island for much of the year. The high dam would make the danger permanent, so reinforcement was no longer enough. Enders enclosed the island with an immense cofferdam, a temporary watertight barrier, and pumped the work area dry. Conservators cleaned, measured, photographed, and mapped the monuments before separating them into roughly 40,000 stone units. Nearby Ajilkia Island was reshaped to resemble the original setting. Between 1972 and 1979, the pieces of Philae were transported to higher ground and rebuilt as a connected ensemble rather than scattered museum objects. That breadth is Philae's great strength. Colonnades, pylons that formed monumental gateways, sanctuaries, and their spatial sequence survived together. The project saved not a single facade, but a ceremonial world whose meaning depended on moving through it. Philae is the strongest rival because it mastered complexity. It turned a flooded island into a documented puzzle, then rebuilt the puzzle on altered terrain. Any winner must match that care, while carrying even greater engineering and historical consequence. The GOAT is the relocation of the Abu Simbel temples. It did not merely save famous stonework. It moved two rock-cut monuments out of the path of a rising reservoir, while preserving the illusion that they still belonged inside a mountain. The temples had been carved directly into a sandstone cliff for Ramses II. Their facades, chambers, reliefs, and colossal seated figures were not assembled buildings that could be lifted. The cliff itself was part of the architecture. The Aswan High Dam promised electricity and control of the Nile, but its reservoir would cover the original site. Inders considered protective barriers and other elaborate schemes. The practical answer was the most alarming one: cut the temples apart. Cutting could not behave like demolition. Saw lines had to avoid carvings, faces, hieroglyphs, and fragile edges. Sections were braced, lifted, recorded, and prepared for a reconstruction in which a misplaced joint could remain visible for centuries. Even a single fragment could be enormous. A 20-ton section containing the face of Ramses was lifted from the Great Temple in 1965. The operation turned a royal image carved for permanence into a carefully handled piece of cargo. The blocks moved to a plateau above the future waterline. Their crews rebuilt the chambers and facades in their original relationship, roughly 65 meters higher and about 200 meters back from the river. Reassembling the visible stone was only half the trick. The original temples had been caves in solid rock. At the new site, reinforced concrete domes carried the surrounding load, including a dome spanning 60 meters over the Great Temple. Inders then covered that hidden structure with an artificial hill. Visitors would approach monumental facades emerging from a desert mass, enter deep chambers, and feel the weight of a mountain that was, in truth, a modern shell protecting an ancient interior. That is where Abu Simbel surpasses an intact move. Cape Hatteras preserved original material relationships by carrying the station whole. Abu Simbel had to recreate relationships that were inseparable from geology after slicing the architecture away from the geology that made it. It also edges past Philae. Philae preserved a broader ensemble and deserves credit for an even larger architectural puzzle. Abu Simbel, however, joined cliff-scale reconstruction, colossal sculpture, deep interiors, urgent timing, and a convincing artificial landscape in one operation. The rescue was not perfect. The authentic cliff and original riverside context disappeared beneath the reservoir. What survives is a meticulous reconstruction of place, not the place itself. That limitation matters because relocation can prevent destruction, but it cannot make loss vanish. Still, the reconstruction met the deadline. Abu Simbel was inaugurated at its new location. The inauguration happened in 1968. From the outside, the impossible operation had become almost invisible, which may be its most persuasive technical achievement. The wider campaign cost about 80 million United States dollars, with roughly half donated by around 50 countries. That international effort treated endangered heritage as a shared responsibility rather than a private problem for whichever nation happened to contain it. Its success helped inspire the 1972 World Heritage Convention. The engineering project therefore produced more than a relocated temple. It helped establish a global system for identifying and protecting cultural and natural places considered valuable to humanity as a whole. That consequence breaks the tie. Dendur showed how displaced architecture could be interpreted honestly. London Bridge proved historic fabric could acquire a useful second life. Cape Hatteras perfected the intact move. Philae preserved an entire sacred sequence. Abu Simbel absorbed lessons from every approach and added a new one. Rebuild the landscape itself, then turn the rescue into an international precedent. Its success changed both what engineers believed could be moved and what governments believed they were obliged to save. Its GOAT status matters because the project proved that development and preservation did not have to be automatic enemies. Sometimes the most respectful way to honor an immovable monument is to move almost everything around it, including the world's idea of responsibility.